How did the popular butthole of your school get the taste of their own medicine? Viewer edition.
Story 1. Had a bully that loved to just take my schoolwork and destroy it so I couldn't turn it in on time. Got revenge when we were assigned to do the same shop class. I was hammering something together, can't remember what, not important, and dude tried his little stunt. Needless to say, he learned the hard way not to put your fingers anywhere near a effed up teenage girl with a hammer. The sweetest part was that the teacher and principal sided with me 100%, only saying to him, "Be grateful that it was only your fingers." I mean, I'm glad it was just his fingers. Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. I thought that this could have gone in a much darker direction, and so, good that it didn't. Yeah, I don't have any other comment. Little thwack on the finger. Lesson learned, I hope. Story 2. This girl used to pick on me for being a virgin at the time. What was crazy was that if other boys were virgins, she would find that sweet. But when she found out that I was a virgin, she bullied the hell out of me, told other people at the school, used to call me out on it in public. Last time I heard from her, she dropped out of that school and went to go live with her mother, got pregnant, was unemployed, and wasn't sure who the dad was.
Story 3. I'm from a pretty rough area, so you can imagine. Some drug addicts, a lot of people getting knocked up, knocking someone up, multiple baby mamas, dads, gangs, some actually went to prison. Then there are the people who had very big relationship blow-ups on social media, the dramatic fights and makeups. I have popular buttholes that have actually still been hateful to me for no reason as an adult. This once popular girl gave me death glares and started loudly talking crap about me in public. I was amazed as this was almost 10 years after graduation. I just laughed and felt sorry for her. The funniest one was a bully who asked me out years later. He was pretty much an incel by this point. I turned him down and he started shouting anti-Semitic abuse in public. This was outside his place of work and he was taken inside by his boss. I know he doesn't work there anymore, but I don't know if he was fired for this.
I'll never understand people who hold on to these grudges like that after high school. To be giving you death glares, like when you haven't seen her for years, just let it go. It was high school. And to the guy who's shouting anti-Semitic things, I'm glad he lost his job. Screw that person, and I hope he straightens up.
Story 4. A little bit late, but here is my experience. A semi-popular girl who I used to be best friends with started saying really passive-aggressive insults to me and only me. I let it slide for probably a month before she told me that if she were me, she wouldn't be doing track. I finally said something to her in which I didn't cuss her out and just told her to knock it off because I did nothing to her, and she responded by cussing me out and just saying some really nasty things. Next day at school, I told my friend I wanted to fight her or something stupid, and her friend heard and told her I was going to jump her. That somehow turned into me jumping her at the track, and I corrected her and told her that if she kept talking about me, I was going to give her something to talk about. She called me a dumb bee. It was then time for track, and I waited for her, but she didn't come till the last minute, so even if I wanted to jump her, I didn't. I couldn't. It was then the end of track, and I told this one girl that she was a P. She then came up to me yelling and cussing at me, at which point I beat her up in front of 80% of the track team. I got 10 days in school suspension, and she got off with maybe a warning. Story 5. I actually have a good one. Was bullied by the vice principal in high school. He would call me racial and homophobic names and kicked me out of the daycare class due to the autistic girl caring too much for the babies and the toddlers. As well said that my life choices and liking horror will cause me to do certain acts for money on the street corner. And I was in band, and trust me when I say this, band moms and dads gossip like a small town. Kids in the classes refused to do the daycare class hearing about it, and the band teacher and some other kids got sick of his crap. So one basketball game, we were in the bleachers playing Paint It Black, and I stood up, made eye contact with him, and started playing my trombone loudly as tears rolled down my face. No one stopped me, and he was downright embarrassed as the other school was jumping up and down as well, singing along to me. I never felt so justified in my little life. My band teacher even did songs from the movie Beetlejuice for my graduation. just to be petty over a scandal the idiot did. Over me going to Renfest and taking a photo with a friend from college and claimed I was talking to an older man. I mean, if he was so insecure, why keep talking to me when you're like half my age? Another deal was he kept saying the school was better than a Catholic school down the way, but they were both the same on how they felt over teen pregnancy, limited reading literature, and the Hispanic, Native, LGBTQ special needs, and black students. They friggin' deserve each other.
It always hurts me to hear about teachers and people who work in schools that are awful to kids. Like, just get a different job, folks. That stuff doesn't pay that well, and you clearly don't like kids. Why are you there? I guess if you're a person like this, because you get off on being a friggin' bigot. So we're better to be a bigot than around people who can't do anything back to you for the most part. Ugh.
Story 6. So I was bullied here and there, but I never realized I myself was a bully to kids. I grew up in an abusive household in Bible Belt, Tennessee, and I thought the way I acted was normal mostly. I didn't really realize it till high school / after I moved out of my mom's. I did a lot of crappy things, and I feel so bad for them. I hope most of the people I know have gotten better. There were some kids who I bullied who also bullied me. It was weird, to be honest. That school has so many undiagnosed neurodivergent kids along with horrible LGBTQA+ phobia. Kind of like it's stuck in time. I'm glad I got out of there. Sorry, rambled, but I wanted to share. Story 7. I have a story like this, actually. Popular kid at my school basically for every wrong reason. Fake nice guy who had power, then would get peed if he did not get treated that way in return. He wanted to be voted homecoming king so dang badly. Found out that the school was rallying behind a terminally ill girl for the opposite homecoming queen. I don't know if it was CF, I never got the details or something, but he started trying to counter-rally this by voting a hot girl for queen. He was not discreet and let it slip his ableist tendencies. She was disabled, not pretty, etc. Within a day, the school turned against him so badly. He was actively confronted a lot. I was quite unaware of this situation, so the surprise when my name was posted for homecoming king was there. I was aloof, but I had a semi-extroverted side to me that participated in a lot of activities for the well-being of others. Tutoring struggling kids, starting a charity drive for those struggling with mental health, started a medical volunteering chapter in our school, etc. I would be lying if I would not have said that it made me super happy, but this story itself felt like it had a satisfying twist to it. If anything, this makes me happiest because the enforced nice guy mentality sucks. You're not owed anything for pseudo-polite actions and being two-faced. With his reputation being soiled, he was considerably more toxic for the remainder of the year. He had one of his friends file a false honor violation on me and tell people a day after getting accepted to university honors. Jesus, that was not a fun time of proving my innocence. So his true colors were exposed and the school just disliked him. I can't profess to being a saint in high school, but I tried to be the best person I could and never placed stock in the return because of niceness policy. Overall, pretty nice dub. The girl did get voted queen, which was the best outcome. I honestly could have cared less who got king. She just deserved that recognition for being a wonderful and bright person. She passed a month ago, which really is what got me to comment. Rest in peace. It still hurts me that her life was cut so short when she brought beauty and positivity into a rough world. High school is a learning experience. That being said, learning experiences are learning. When I've done wrong, I've attempted to take accountability and reform. The guy did too after this fact. Not sure his job right now, but he is doing great things at his current college. I wish him the best.
First, I'm sorry to hear about the passing of the prom queen, but it sounds like she brought a lot of great good into the world while she was around, and hopefully she was able to live her life to the fullest. And to the guy who was a bit of a jerk, but turned his life around and everything, and, doing great things in college, it's proof that, hey, even if you were kind of a D-bag at one point in time in your life, you can be better. And it's probably going to make you happier if you do that.
Story 8. My bully was a girl that tried to humiliate me with words, so I played her game and called her a Paris Hilton knockoff. After a while, I got her to the end that she flipped out and threw me to the ground trying to punch me, which she didn't because I was laughing my butt off knowing I won the game. After that, she never bullied me. Story 9. That 7th story reminded me of when my mom had to make regular trips back to her parents because Opa, my grandfather, he was German, was going through cancer treatment, God rest his soul. This was when I was in high school and my autistic and ADHD self was too scared to take the train alone, so my sister would meet me after school and we'd catch the train together. For some reason, some of the boys at school, not all in my classes, decided to tease me whenever they saw me. I tried to ignore them, but damn if it didn't drive me up the wall. Big Sis and I were sitting on the train, waiting for it to go, and there were those boys walking past the window making stupid noises and faces. Out of the corner of my eye, I see my sister stand up and had a serious look on her face, and those boys kept going on to the next train carriage. I believe they never bothered me again after that. It's such an amazing feeling when you have an older sibling stick up for you like that. Edit. The only popular kids in my high school were popular for good reasons. 3 boys with amazing musical talent, and one of them who would walk around during breaks and play his ukulele, he saved a student from drowning at a swimming event. Story 10. The first, last, and only time I was bullied was in 2nd grade, so mind you, these details are fuzzy. In 2nd grade, I was always one of those silent, mind my own business and you mind your own business type of kids. I got good grades, teacher barely had to tell me off, and I never got into fights in a somewhat violent school. Then the popular kid decides he's run out of people to pick, and he decides to pick on me, and obviously I hate what he's doing and tell him to stop. He doesn't, and this is where the memories get fuzzy. I think I endure for another minute, and then I snap. I don't exactly remember what I did. I believe I started screaming and roaring at him like a banshee while swinging and charging at him like a maniac. I'm not sure, but I do remember that he, along with everyone, was scared crapless. After this, I was sitting with the principal and my mother, and since I had built quite a reputation as a peaceful, hardworking student, the principal completely blamed the popular bastard. I walked away scot-free, the popular bastard got put back into his place, and as a bonus, no one ever picked on me again.
I mean, this is not the reaction that I would, encourage, most teenagers or adults to do, but yeah, you're in 2nd grade. I think you're justified in reacting like that. Kids are weird. Honestly, your teacher should have been doing more to help you out in that situation, but I'm glad things worked out okay.
Story 11. This is kind of the opposite of the post, but here goes. In 7th and 8th grade, there was a really skinny, quiet kid at my school. He was kind of unfriendly, but still complained a lot about, "I have no friends," which got pretty annoying. One day, he even called in a bomb threat to the school because he wanted to skip an exam that day. He was suspended for the rest of the 8th grade year. 2 years later, I found out we went to the same high school, but when he came to talk to me, he was barely recognizable. He joined the JV football team at our school and became very muscular and fit. He had a lot of friends on the football team and had completely turned his life around. Even though we never got along, I was really happy for him. Story 12. My popular kid gets owned story was the school's top soccer player, the popular kid, getting a taste of his own medicine. He was an impressive player, but was always getting fouled for arguing with the referee, pushing people hard even if they were on the same team, and stuff like that. One day, the referee stops calling fouls in PE soccer. When the popular kid tries his pushing shenanigans, he picks the wrong kid to mess with. The popular kid was about 6'1", but he was incredibly skinny. The kid he messed with was 5'11", pure muscle who fought his abusive stepfather and won. Popular kid was on the ground, and the other kid kicked the ball almost directly into the goal. Popular kid tries to stop it from getting in, but ends up kicking it into his own goal.
Honestly, knowing just how violent soccer can get at certain times, this story could have turned out much darker than it did, and so I'm glad the person learned a lesson and it wasn't too soccer hooligan wild. What am I saying?
Story 13. Our grade had a quite popular guy who got expelled in 10th grade. This was a Catholic school. We had a 3-day religious trip every year. Different classes went to different places, and not always at the same time. We usually stayed in a building and got lectures from pastors, going to church. The story, one of the classes from my grade went on this trip. Their head teacher went to sleep early, so they started to party, because everyone brought alcohol and they drank it all in one night. Second evening rolls around, they get keys for the church rooms where the water and wine is held, 'cause the tap broke in the building they were in. 3 guys went for water, stole the church wine, recorded it, posted it on Instagram. A few days later, a younger kid from the school found the video, told her parents, parents told the school, everyone got a serious warning from that class, and 2 out of the 3 guys got expelled. The one not expelled got out of trouble for lying he didn't drink because he was on medication. He vomited 6 times first night, from third it was blood. One of the expelled only got expelled because the teachers hated him for questioning authority. He stood up against unnecessary punishment/disciplining and always asked for reasoning. The third guy who recorded the video was nominated for an award usually received by well-behaving, diligent kids heavily involved in the school community, partaking in organizing events and such. This happened around 5 to 6 years ago in Hungary. Story 14. There was this girl, let's call her Patricia. She was super popular. There was a point where me and her were friends. The news of George Floyd came out, and Patricia and this other girl, let's call her Maddie, mocked him and recorded it. Patricia, white, also said in the video that she hates N-word with hard R multiple times. The video got spread around and she was expelled along with Maddie. A few years went by and she came back, and I struggled with mental health, and I've been in and out of school. All of a sudden, Patricia, starts being nice to me. I ignored her every time, and she is now a nobody. Story 15. Back when I was in middle school, I had this group of friends that had one prick I didn't like. He was a year older than me and like 70% of the group, so he was one of the cool older kids. One of his favorite things to do was always respond to stuff we talked about as dark and cynical as he could because it made him look cooler. One day I was tired of him bringing down the mood, so the next time he said something cool and dark, I responded, "Make sure not to cut yourself on that edge while you're at it." He got beet red, and a lot of the group started laughing at my comment/him. For the rest of the day after that, when he tried being edgy, someone would repeat my line. At least he stopped doing that.
You know, I think a lot of kids go through an edgy phase. Not all of them, but a good number. I went through an edgy phase. Folks, I used to have dyed black hair, chains around my neck, read Anne Rice novels, which, is that still a thing people know about? But, yep, even this big old softy used to be a edgelord. Kind of.
Story 16. Not really a popular kid as far as I'm concerned, but still got a taste of her own medicine. In my freshman year, there was this one girl who just looked like a stoner, constantly made fun of the young math teacher who had just started that year, and would never show up for class. This all led back to the first semester final, where she was finally at this new math teacher's mercy. When she got the test, I could see it in her face when she realized she knew and remembered nothing. And this time was very polite to the math teacher when she went up to him and quietly asked for help. Story 17. Happened during high school. I have no clue why she was extremely rude to me, but nice to my friends. Unfortunately, I was assigned to sit in front of her, and she would oftentimes put either tape or paper in my hair. Anyway, there was this girl I knew in middle school, very nice to me and would get into fights with other girls. Anyway, she transferred to this high school from another one and immediately became popular. The popular girl that disliked me hated this and would oftentimes give her a difficult time. Kids warned her, the teachers warned her, hell, even the other girl warned her to back off, but she didn't. She wanted to fight the other girl. Anyways, one day I was walking down the hallway and it turned out that the 2 girls got into a fight later on that day, and my bully got the crap kicked out of her. She tried to end the fight, but the other girl refused to back down. Yeah, my bully was never cruel to me again, and she would be actually decent around me. Story 18. I knew this one guy who was popular. Really, people were just afraid of him. He was the school bully. The guy would pick on anyone for any reason. One day, I had enough. I said, "You know what? If being a B means being who I really am, thanks for the compliment." We were in front of a lot of people, including the principal and vice principal. Everyone there was laughing at him due to my comeback. Let's just say he never insulted me again after that. Story 19. There was another popular kid, but this time I personally had a hand in taking him down. Kid was a slacker, jerk, and bully of junior high school. Teachers could not figure out what made him this way and talked about it amongst themselves. As an aside, I said, "It's like he's on something," and they decided to keep investigating that particular theory. My best friend and I then found out that a suspicious amount of students leave for the restroom at the same time. 10:15 a.m., Dean walks in to see a dozen students vaping with the popular kid among them. Popular kid manages to get out of expulsion by ratting out other vapors in school, but 6 months later, expulsion caught up with him as he vaped again in the restroom.
When you said that you helped lead to it because you mentioned that it's like he's on something, I was expecting a lot of different things that I didn't think that YouTube would want me saying, like, Crunchy Crystal or candy or electric jazz cigarettes or whatever. But vaping, oh man, so not even a cool drugs aren't cool, but...
Story 20. I have a story that happened 4 years ago. The popular kid bullied me for a few years, and once he crossed the line by talking about my father. He told me my father took his own life because I was born. My father took his own life due to depression. I told him to shut up, as the money they have only comes from their father, who's in prison because he hired a hitman and stole money. The popular kid stopped for a while, but then started again. When he started talking about my father again, I hit him several times in front of everyone, and he ran away because he had just been hit hard by a girl. Story 21. When I was in 7th grade, there was a kid who I'll call TJ, who was in all of my classes, who for most of the year was pretty chill and nice to me, but then all of a sudden started spreading a bunch of BS rumors about me. Because we were in middle school, we had a group text with the rest of our classmates, which is where all the rumors were spreading. TJ spread the narrative that I was jealous of some girl in our class because she was dating somebody, even though I liked her, which I did not and do not. Even though I said absolutely nothing, and basically he's the reason I'm still a pariah at my new school. Cut to 2 years later, we're about to enter our freshman year of high school, and I hear that TJ transferred to a different high school out of our district, and I haven't seen that butthole ever since. I'm not sure what happened to him, but I hope he's doing horrible in his new school. I'm just glad he can't start more crap anymore, but his damage to me still remains.
Man, I never thought about how the fact that many of you are growing up with texting and group chats and stuff being a thing in school, how that might affect how rumors go about. I grew up in the days where that didn't happen. But best I can say is when there are like rumors and stuff, the best advice I have is just don't care. Like, if people bring it up, be like, no. Like, don't make a big deal about it. Don't be like, no, it's not like that. Like, if you deny it, you make a big deal, it tends to stick more. This isn't 100% advice, and I mean, it could depend on what's being said, but I'll just say, for the most part, if you're just like, whatever, shut up, who cares? People won't care.
Story 22. The high school I went to and that my brother still attends is in a pretty rough area and was full of rough kids. Brother's 2.5 years younger than me, and when he was in his first year, I was in my 4th. He was getting bullied by a kid 2 years above him and couldn't avoid him since the kid lived near us. Kid was threatening to bear up and even stab my brother. I was in drama class with a guy who was not only popular but was known to attend boxing classes and had a bad temper. He felt he owed me, as I was the main person to help talk him down if he got too frustrated in class, preventing him from causing himself harm. So one day when I was venting to him about my worries about my bro, he, friend, offered to beat up the bully. I asked him not to, but after a few days, I found out that the bully had begun leaving my brother alone because said friend had simply told the bully that he, friend, would find the bully if he kept going after first and second year kids. Nothing specific, no threats of harm, just the simple sentence of, "Do that again, I'll find you." Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.